Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dallas Daily Show, coming at you from the Neighborhood Loan Studio here in St. Louis, Missouri. Today's topic is upgrading version 4.5 to version 4.6. Let's get into the conversation. All right, so for anybody who regularly listens to the pod, thank you, first of all. Let me just express a little bit of gratitude there. This is episode 99, meaning tomorrow. Producer Taylor, tomorrow's episode 100, which is kind of fun. If you've been listening for any length of time, you have heard me talk. We just finished Amston March Magic over the last couple of weeks. We had 5 birthdays in 10 days. It was a good time, and I've talked about that on the pod this week. But I'm going to actually talk about kind of, for me, it was a birthday for me as well this past Monday, as well as my wife, Meg. But I always like to do this for the last maybe 4 or 5 years since I kind of, when I turned 40, I started looking at it. So I just turned 46. Holy cow. I just turned 46. What camera are we on? We're on camera number 2. Look at this handsome face. Look at this. Look at this goodness over here. For those of you who watch the video version. You're missing out on all the smiles and the squinty, tired eyes. So a few years ago, when I was 39 and I turned 40, I actually started to look at my life because I remember there was this old phrase. I heard it from Tony Robbins. I don't know if it's a phrase of his, but Tony Robbins once said, "We overestimate what we can do in a year. We underestimate what we can do in a decade." I think that's such a really key phrase. I started looking at my life, especially when I read things like Maxwell Maltz's Cybernetics. I started looking at my life and my brain and my thinking as more of a cybernetic system, more of a kind of like a mental living computer. All right, and I've talked a little bit about this. I've hinted at this in the past on the pod, but once I started looking at my life like a little bit of a cybernetic system or organic computer system, I was like, okay, when people are doing a beta test rollout, and we talked about this on the Future You and the Mindshift podcast a few weeks ago too, when people are doing a beta rollout of stuff, they'll roll out a new software, and you get it all the time on your mobile device, right? You'll see you download an app, and then a couple of weeks later, you'll see that the app has an update available. And there's bugs, and sometimes I'll read, what does this update include? It includes a couple of bug fixes, and they were experiencing crashes, and it includes a little bit more of a software cohesiveness so that it integrates well with other apps, etc. And a couple of years ago, I was going through a big update of my operating system on my phone, and it updated a bunch of my apps. And I actually just began to think in my own life, where do I have bugs in the system? Where do I have little glitches in my personality, glitches in my reaction versus response, glitches in my present reality? That's not necessarily, oh my gosh, I'm headed toward future me, but where are things happening in my present reality that are still frustrations for me? And so twice a year, I kind of run a little diagnostic on myself. It's usually near the end of the year. Like I did this back in December, and I started thinking, okay, what did 2024 look like? Where were some of my glitches? Again, for those of you who've listened to the pod, you're familiar with this concept. Where were some of my glitches? Where were some of my bugs? Where were some of the things that worked really well, or some of the things that I could even further optimize? So I did that at the new year, but I also do it every year around my birthday for the last 5 years. Since now 6, but since I turned 40. So I go through and I begin to assess, based on who I want to become, the future version of Dallas, where are some of the glitches in my current version? So at 45, I started saying 4.5, operating system 4.5. If I'm going to upgrade here to 4.6, what do I want it to look like? And again, this anchors to visualizing future me, and it anchors to saying, all right, so I still was a little quick to react with my kids with this. That's a bug I need to work out. Had a couple crashes with my spouse. We had like 3 big blow-ups last year. What caused those? Why? What was it in me that I need to work on? Because it's obviously not the version of me I want to become. This version that crashed out a few times? Where did I have energy drops? Where did I fall back into old beliefs, behaviors? Where did I fall into full sedation cycles, right? That's what I started to ask myself this past week, and I began to examine it, and it's been really insightful. There are parts of my life that I'm like, man, I'm getting better. I'm doing better over here, but I'm not quite yet where I want to be. However, I know that upgrading is gradual. Becoming this future version of myself is gradual, and I have a ton of grace for myself now that I used to not have. I used to overestimate what I could do in a year, overestimate between version 41, 42, 4.1, 4.2, or 4.2, 4.3. I would overestimate all the upgrades, and I would promise myself all these big things, and then I would feel guilty and destructive and disturbed and downcast when I didn't achieve them all. So now I'm much more realistic about, what if there's a little thing I can get better at it? What if there's a micro habit I can adopt? What if there's one tiny upgrade, one consistency that I can do this year that's going to make me less reactive in this situation, or going to cause less bugs with my kids, or less glitches or crashes with my spouse or in my business? I used to way overestimate even what I could do in a week in my business, and then I would have all these undone things that would have me frustrated and feeling like, I didn't achieve again. So I've gotten way better at even managing my calendar. I now have team members on my team who are managing my calendar for me, because they know, based on what Dallas can accomplish, based on the number of meetings he has, based on his introvert extrovert cycle, right? His introversion recharge and what's necessary for him. Based on all of those things, there are things that I can still fix and do. So the question for you is, when was the last time you did a system-wide audit of your life? Spiritually, physically, relationally, professionally, financially, emotionally, mentally, right? Think of all the things. When was the last time that you performed an audit and started saying, man, I always bug out here. I always glitch here. This is where I typically crash. What would I like to fix for the next upgrade of me? For maybe your next birthday coming up, or maybe the next big milestone in your business. What is the thing for you that you want to fix the upgrade? And that's the final question I have for you today. I want you to just contemplate. Where are the bugs? Where are the glitches? Where are the crashes? What can I upgrade for myself in the coming days, weeks, months, and even year? And they just can be small little upgrades, because over time, if you know the ultimate operating system you want to design is this great future you version of you, then you know the upgrades can be gradual, because we couldn't do it all at once anyway. So that's what I got for you today. Audit yourself. Ask yourself, what do I want to do in the next upgrade? I can tell you, for me, from 4.5 to 4.6, 45-year-old to 46-year-old, there's some stuff I'm going to be working on, but I'm also going to give myself a ton of grace to fix the glitches, the bugs, and the crashes as I upgrade who I'm becoming to a future me that I ultimately desire. So do the same for yourself, my friends. Go out there, have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to dallasdailyshow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.